All right, so we're going to be mixing up a medium intensity palette here. We're going to be using, for those that have a burnt sienna, we can use burnt sienna. But for those that only have burnt umber, we can use burnt umber too. So I'm basically going to take the burnt umber. Now I kind of already mixed the red section and then I remembered, oh yeah, I'm going to do the video. Um, so we're going to take our Namthal red or your Grumbacher red or Windsor red, if that's all you have from the class, the painting class, and we're going to take this and mix it into this burnt umber. Pardon me. Burnt sienna is just a redder sort of brown. The burnt umber is an orange brown, and you're going to mix that up, and it's going to be right about here. That's what this mixture right there is. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of clove oil. This is just clove oil. And since we don't want to put too much, but I'm going to put at least two drops in there, maybe a third. You just got to be careful because if you put too much clove oil in paint, it'll take forever to dry, and forever I mean years. But browns dry the quickest, and so that's why you can put more in brown. If you're going to put something in white, like up here, even a drop is going to make that stay wet for a very, very long time, maybe even a year. Whereas the browns, you could put like, if I've got this much brown here, again I could put 3, sometimes even 4 drops into that, and then I'll keep it wet for a couple months. As opposed to this brown, if without the clove oil, will dry down in just a couple days. So this is your base mixture that we've got. That's just again the burnt umber, or you can use burnt sienna just to be a little redder. This is burnt umber Namthal red. Now the Namthal red is really, really strong. So again, this is going to be a really nice medium intensity red, stronger than the brown, but not too strong. And then you're just going to go ahead and mix some white up with it to give us some steps going up. And then we're going to, now I've got 2 steps going down, but these are almost the same. So I could actually take this and add it to this mixture to lighten this up slightly. I'd also give it a little more red, which I think that's great. And then this right here is mostly burnt umber. I think I even put just a touch of black in it just to darken it a little bit more. And so that's how we're going to get our reds. Now for the yellows, we're going to start with, now I could either use yellow ochre, which is a nice yellow to use, or if I don't have yellow ochre, again, if I'm using just the beginning palette, I can then use burnt umber. There's my burnt umber. Now this is Graham pre-tested burnt umber, has a slightly greenish tint to it, and so you might have to put again a little bit of orange. Not Grumbacher. Graham's is a little bit on the redder side of orange, so I may not have to add a bit of orange to that because because sometimes it goes a little green. And to pull something back from yellow green to yellow, because this is a little bit on the yellow orange side. They're not going to be exactly the same color, but they'll be close enough. They'll be fine. So you can just add the burnt umber, or you could start with the yellow ochre, whichever you prefer. And again, all we're doing is we're doling down the yellow. And since we're using this for portraits, it's going to make it so we. Usually when beginners start painting portraits, yeah, see how that's going a little green? It can be a little, they can be a little too bright, or in other words, too intense. Like way too intense. So, and there are some yellow ochres that will go this green, but we want a little bit more sort of a true yellow. And so to pull it back, I can do one of 2 things. I can either add orange to it, or again, this is just that Namthal red. We can add the red, which is also going to pull it across the yellow spectrum. I think I might try this first. And this will pull it again. It's a duller yellow, so it's not going to be a bright yellow, but there we go. We're getting, We've got it almost a true yellow. That almost might go past true yellow, a little bit to yellow orange. Yeah, we went to a little bit to yellow orange, but that's okay. This is a little bit on the yellower side. This is a little bit more on this is almost like a raw sienna, which again is a very beautiful color. Nothing wrong with it. It's still a brown or an ochre, so it's going to dry quicker. So I'm going to take and I'm going to mix these guys together. So again, I could use either one, but since I've got these two, I'm just going to go ahead and mix them together. Again, it's no big deal, no harm, no foul. And this is going to be my starting place for my yellow, and we're trying to put these in their value. So you know what's the value range, and so the value of this one's probably about a step between 7 or probably pretty close to a straight 7 on the value scale, maybe between a 7 and a 6. But obviously it's much lighter than the red, and so we would start with this, and then just to go darker we would add brown to it, and then to lighten it we could add again a bit of white. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white here. I mean, I'll just use the burnt umber to give me maybe 2 or 3 more steps going darker. You know, not all that complicated. It's really quite, you know, it's basically just we're mixing from this middle, in other words, a middle intensity yellow. It's not, you know, bright yellow right out of the tube. It's a little bit of the browns, and so it's a little duller, and that's again when we're painting skin is a little duller. It's not like we're painting, you know, pumpkins or, you know, or even oranges or something like that that's got a lot more intensity. Skin is a medium to medium low intensity, and so we're using a medium to medium low intensity palette. In fact, some of the grays that we call those would be low intensity colors, and we're using that to you know, paint the portrait. And again, so I can go ahead and darken it. I'm gonna have to move this red and clean it up, but I think you get the idea of it. It's not that big a deal. We would just go ahead and grab a little bit of the burnt umber, and you take a little burnt umber and you put it in there. So, you know, I could just take a little bit and take a little bit of this. Probably need more yellow, you know, because again, I'm pulling from this puddle to go lighter and darker. But you know, you just add a little bit of the burnt umber, and you start to darken this. Now that actually went again a little bit on the green side, so again I could put just a little bit of red in there, pull it back into yellow instead of yellow green. And again, I could go ahead and go darker still, but you know that's I pulled too much red in there. I've got this red right next to it, and it's actually quite a bit of red. That's now all very, very orange. So I'm gonna take a little more of the yellow, pull this back in there, take a little bit more of the burnt umber to bring a little more of that green back into it, and that's pretty good. That's pretty close to what I want right there. And so, and again, you could do 1 or 2 more. I'd probably do 2 more. I'm trying for 5 to 6, but if I've got 7, that's not that big a deal. With the blue grays, which we're using for our blue, we have very dull blues for this palette. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to start with black. So I'm just going to put a little black out here. And we got our black down there. Again, black also dries very quickly, so we could add a little bit of clove oil, which I'm going to do. But we're just going to strengthen. So black, this is an ivory black, which is a little bit on the blue side to begin with. And then we're going to take some blue, not a ton of blue, but a little bit of blue. And we're just going to bring out a little bit more of the blues in that, so that we can, and again, we're going to use this as a dull blue color. And we won't use any blues any stronger than this. Well, at least for the face. If they were wearing a blue shirt, well, you know, we might have to strengthen the blue a little bit. But for the most part, again, we're just going to go ahead and mix this up. This is now going to be a very blue-black, very similar to a Payne's Gray, which is it's even bluer. It's basically black mixed with blue. Oh, look, I got blue mixed with black. Now, usually it's ultramarine or phthalo that they'll use, so it's a little more transparent. This actually I use cobalt, so it's completely opaque. So this is going to be more opaque than Payne's gray. And I like the idea of a little more opacity. That way it covers as I use it. But then we just be going up the scale by putting this out and grabbing white. Probably a little, well, maybe that's not too much white. Let's see. And we can, tell that this has just got more blue in it than this over here. This is just black and white. And that's what we do. Now, if I felt that this needed a little bit more blue, I could throw a little more blue in there. No big deal. Again, no harm, no foul. I'm not trying to, again, I'm trying to keep it a medium intensity palette, meaning we don't want it too bright, too vibrant. But this is more about a hue thing. So it's not going to add a lot of vibrancy. It's just going to add a little bit more of the hue to it. I mean, yes, technically it's going to go up the not saturation, intensity a little bit, but not that much. There we go. That feels to me kind of like what I was hoping for in terms of that blue. And again, you could come up here again, and you'd put a little more white, and you just lighten it all the way up. These I don't have to. I'll probably remix them, but you get the idea. It's not, it's not that bad. And we're trying to keep these sort of similar in terms of their values. So that way you can just go across, and mix things that aren't going to change the value too much. They're just going to change the hue. And then we would have, I got to remix all my browns, but this is just burnt umber and white over there. And then you'd have your black and white, and you want about, again, your 6 or 7 values, 5 if you want to, but of your black and white, and then at least 5. Again, I might have as many as 7 for the brown and white, the burnt umber and white, and that just gives you a warm gray versus a blue, in other words, an orange gray versus a blue gray, or in other words, a warm gray versus a cool gray. And that will really, give us just, again, the ability to paint, the portrait a whole lot easier, a lot better, a lot stronger. It's just good all around. So again, there we go. Now I've got, I think that's still a little light, so I'm going to darken it just a little bit by adding more of the black to it. I thought this was too big of a jump. And then I just keep lightening it up with white. Like this is too dark, so we're going to bring this over in here and make this a little bit lighter as far as that goes. So oh shoot, there's red underneath there. Well, now I'm going to have to go back in there with a tiny bit more blue. That red's going to push it a little bit to the purple side. Not so much that I'm going to lose sleep over it, but okay, so that's going to overcome some of the, it's just going to dull it down. It would have dulled it down, the red, and it would have pushed it a little bit more to the violet. So I brought a little bit more of the blue, and it looks like there was some gray that got mixed in there. I had a warm gray over here. And so again, I just added the blue, and now it's about where it should be as far as that goes. And so this is the palette that we're going to be using now. Again, this was cobalt blue and black. I could have used ultramarine blue and black. That would be your other option, and then lightened it up. Again, with the red, we could use, if you have burnt sienna, I could use sienna and red, which was right here. Or you could use burnt umber and red. This is the burnt umber and red. This is the sienna and red. The sienna is just a slight bit redder. But, it's the same idea. And then you darken it with the burnt umber, and then you lighten it with the white. Now, for the darkest one, I put a tiny bit of black in there, because it can't go darker than that. That's burnt umber with red, and it really didn't change the value. So to go any darker, you have to go with the black. The yellow I still haven't darkened all the way with, but I'm going to, I have to move this red out of the way, but I'm just going to use burnt umber to darken that down. This was just, you could use yellow ochre and then darken the yellow ochre with burnt umber if you have yellow ochre. If you don't, well, then we also mixed it where we mixed it with yellow and burnt umber. It went a little too much on the green side, so I added a little bit of the red, pulled it back to yellow, and then I just mixed up the yellow ochre and the other one because, close enough. And again, you lighten it up with white, you darken it with burnt umber, and then you have your 2 lines of burnt umber and white getting lighter, black and white getting lighter. I have my blacks over here, but because it's a different class, but I can easily pull that over into these mixtures. So you have your brown and white, which is right here, a little warmer, your black and white, and that's it. So go ahead and mix this up, and then bring it on into class. It'll be good. You guys have yourselves a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.